What's up, all you beautiful people? Today we're going to be talking about a movie called Twisters, the epic, long-anticipated sequel, I think, to the original 1990-something movie called Twister. This wasn't a movie I was going to make a review about. I mean, I know I'm trying to bring back the YouTube channel and all that stuff. Didn't think Twisters would be like the best one to start off with for my first real video. After my really shitty Deadpool short that I had. Honestly, I went and saw this with my girlfriend and I had a great time. It was what I thought it was going to be, but I was still kind of surprised going into it that I ended up enjoying it so much. Obviously Glenn Powell is the talk of the talk, him and Sydney Sweeney popping up out of nowhere and just becoming everything that is Hollywood now. It's kind of crazy. Fun to watch though. The performances were decent for what this movie was going to be. You know, this isn't something you go in to see where you're expecting these insanely amazing performances or crazy looking effects, which, by the way, we'll talk about that later. Pretty good, actually. And my girlfriend and I were actually both really excited to see this movie for no reason at all, really. It's just kind of a dumb, fun movie to go and watch. And left being, pleasantly surprised. Anyways, she does really good for what this movie is. It's not like an Oscar nominee performance or anything, but she conveys emotion. She makes me feel anxious. She makes me feel sad for moments that happen in the movie, which is always surprising in disaster movies because you just think dumb fun, people are going to die, but it kind of opens with something that's a little dark, little sad, and you can see her feeling that anxiety over certain moments where she's, I don't know, I'm just going to call it fighting off Twisters because that's what they're doing in this movie when she's fighting off the storms later in the movie and having these panic attacks and then leading to her whole redemption arc of ended up being able to finally kill a Twister. Anthony Ramos, I think I'm pronouncing that right. I know him just as the Transformers guy. I don't know him from anything else other than this. He had a good performance too, for what this movie is. We got to base our expectations here. Glenn Powell is a super good time. One thing that maybe this movie really did just stand out, but I think it's because of the certain explosion and mainstream of country music nowadays. But this movie felt very patriotic, ironically, in these times that are just so insane politically and everything that's going on. This movie felt very patriotic and very like old school America, rah rah, fuck yeah. There are people actually wearing red, white, and blue clothes. Every single song is country. There's a lot of rodeos. And goddamn if this movie isn't sponsored by Ram. Shout out Ram. Used to work there for like a year. But goddamn if this movie isn't sponsored by them. Every single vehicle that you see in this thing that isn't some car just getting absolutely destroyed. But anyways, goddamn if this movie isn't sponsored by Ram. Like it is so blatant, it is so perfect, it is so hilarious, especially after me just leaving working at that dealership 3 months ago. I think it was awesome to see. The main truck in there is a Ram TRX, which if you don't know is a 700 horsepower V8 supercharged Ram 1500, and it's badass. And so I just thought that was hilarious while I was watching this movie. So yeah, trucks, rodeos, cowboys, country music. Soundtrack is really good. My biggest letdown from this movie is that the new song that Luke Combs released, Ain't No Love in Oklahoma, for this movie was played over some speakers with Glenn Powell pulling up in his Ram dually truck. I wanted that to be a big like set piece moment of them chasing down some Twister and riding off into just disappearing into a tornado or something. But it was just him driving up into a parking lot where they all meet to go and fight their tornadoes on some speakers, and it sounded terrible. And I was really let down by that because I love that song. But all the features in that album that came out, that whole country album with all the country superstars on it, pretty damn good. It's an actually good album. I like most of the songs on there, even though there are a lot of really poppy ones. It really made a good feel and atmosphere for this dumb disaster movie that I went to see. And now I want to get to what I was talking about earlier, that this movie looks surprisingly really good. I mean, all we're really looking at are CG cars and people flying into a tornado, but it felt really believable. The atmosphere looked really good, and the tornadoes looked good. Everything in the movie looked really good, which I was surprised about because I feel like there's kind of this transition to CG looking worse. Don't know why. Don't know how that happens. Actually, I guess I have a theory because I watched a Jeremy Jahns video. Not a theory, I guess. but some reasoning. I watched a Jeremy Jahns video, and apparently this movie was filmed on 35 millimeter, which means that it was actually filmed on film and not digital. And apparently CG doesn't blend as well on digital as well as it does on film, so that's why it actually looks a little bit better, and that's kind of the comparison and why people are thinking that CG is looking worse. So that's just a fun fact for you, I guess. So this movie looked really good. It was a good time. It's only like a 2-hour runtime, I think, maybe 2 hours and two minutes. So it's not super long when in the era where I feel like every big special movie is trying to be over 2.5 hours. It seems like this movie is a nice little treat, not too long. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I will probably watch this again if it's just like on Netflix or something, just to kind of fuck off in the living room, have something playing in the background, just some stupid little disaster movie. But yeah, I'd recommend you go see it. I'd give it probably a solid 7 out of 10, especially for what it is, you know, and what you expect going into these kinds of movies. I don't remember watching the first Twister. I think I was I think that if I remember right, it might be 1996 or 1998. Either way, I was too young to remember this movie or remember that movie. I think I definitely have seen it, but I don't remember it. But from the vague memories that I have of it, it was very cheesy, it's very dumb, almost reminded me of like a sci-fi movie or Sharknado. Maybe it's not like that. I don't remember. I was probably like 5 or 6 when I watched it last. I'd give this movie a 7 out of 10. Solid recommend. Go check this movie out if you want to go have a quick popcorn flick in the movie. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below if anybody watched this. I know this was kind of a random, weird movie to bring back for my first YouTube video in, gosh, probably a year, 9-10 months or something like that. Stay tuned and follow along. Give me any recommendations of anything you want me to talk about, any movies you want me to maybe go back and review and upload to my YouTube channel. And stay tuned and give me a like and subscribe.